Life speaks. It speaks through struggles and success, through music and messages, the preconceived and the unexpected. Whether you are in the depths of the valley or in the midst of your mountaintop experience, everyone needs to be encouraged from time to time. Here we will share stories of strength, testimonies of triumph, verses of victory, observations, and information meant to touch the heart and uplift the soul, to keep you on your path of purpose and navigate this thing called life with power and authority. This is Andrea L. Hines, and I'm your host for When Life Speaks, here on ALH Broadcasting, an affiliate of the Streaming Inspirational Broadcast Network. I am glad you accepted the invitation to join us tonight. There's something in this broadcast just for you, and if it is going to be a blessing to your life, it will be to someone else as well. So share, tag, start a watch party, and invite someone you know to join us. Then turn down the volume of life and get ready to receive, so that when life speaks, you'll speak life. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Hello, everybody. This is Andrea L. Hines. I am your host for When Life Speaks, and I am glad to be here this evening and glad to have some of the village with me. I see them up there in the corner. I see Linda Cooks this evening. Good evening to you. I see Angie Cooks Oliphant, our South Carolina connection. Good evening to you, Miss Angie. I see Miss Bernice Clark there. Good evening, Bernice. Glad to have you in the house this evening. Zerlina, good evening to you. Good evening to you. And Francina, good evening to you. And thank you for the compliment. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I do try. I am so glad that you guys are with me tonight. I'm trying to do something a little bit different, and it's not quite. Well, I usually don't have things planned out way out in advance or anything like that, but this is a little bit different, and it's a little bit different because it started actually. With the newsletter that I printed, and not printed, but wrote for July. And if you are somebody who gets the newsletter, you know that I always start with When Life Speaks. And then it will say you speak patience or speak love or whatever. And this time in July, it said, When Life Speaks, connect the dots. Connect the dots. Because I had been thinking about when I was a kid and when we would ride any place, and I don't know that they have them so much now. I think they still do. I think I was in the Dollar Tree not long ago and I did see it. But the activity books, and in them, they'd always have a page of connecting the dots. Sometimes it would be ABC, or sometimes it would be 1, 2, 3, but they had a way of you connecting the dots. And sometimes they would have a couple of straight lines and maybe a couple of curves that were already there in order to help you to see what the end result was going to look like. So you had to connect these dots. And I kept thinking about the fact that it reminded me of how we go through life. Because we're always connecting dots. We're always connecting those experiences and those situations and circumstances that will align us and will help us to manage and help us to maneuver our life's journey. So there are certain things that seem to come up all the time. And the reason that they do, because I was talking to my daughter and she said, I think we did that topic once. And the reason I believe that they come up is because number one, we have new audience members that come on and join us. But the second reason is because we still got have those issues. We still have those issues. We're still maneuvering through them. We are still looking at different ways and have different perspectives on how we see certain things. So we're going to do things a little bit differently in the month of July and August, and I'm going to tell you exactly what that is. But first, I want to talk to you a little bit about things that are coming up on our September calendar, September the 3rd. And hey, Ida, good to have you in the house. Alan, if you can put up that poster for me, that would be great. We had a guest on not long ago. Her name was Regina Harrell, and Regina is editor in chief of Embrace Magazine. And there we have it up now. And September the 3rd, she is going to have, I guess I can call it a conference. And it's kind of based on her book, Don't Break Down, Break Through. Don't Break Down, Break Through. And you can register now. You can get your tickets now, and it's going to be a great event. It's going to be a great event. And she came on and she talked to us a little bit about it and what was going to happen there. They've got a guest speaker, they've got the MC there, they are going to have vendors, and I think I'm going to be one. I think I'm going to take some of my books and greeting cards and things out that day. The telephone number, I don't know whether you can see it there, but it is 252 258 3815. That's 258 3815. You can call there and find out more information, or you can go to https colon / embrace underline empowerment dot eventbrite.com. Okay. And if you having trouble remembering all that information or didn't have a chance to write it down, you know how to reach me, speaklifewithandrea@gmail.com, and I will be happy to get that information to you. So that's what's going to be happening in September. Now, October is going to be a very full month. We're going to start out with Cinnamon, Ruth Leggett. You remember Cinnamon. Cinnamon moved out to California, but she is still working diligently with Worship Puerto Rico. And we haven't had her on for a while, and she's going to come on and be a guest with us sometime probably in the September timeframe or late August timeframe, because she is going to be coming back to the Raleigh area, and she's going to be in concert the first part of October. So I want you to be sure to keep your ears tuned to our program so that you'll know exactly when Cinnamon will be here. Cinnamon was under the banner of the Power of One. She went to Puerto Rico by herself after one of the hurricanes and blessed the people there. And then her group has just grown and grown. Each time she goes, she has more people. Each time she goes, there's a greater opportunity for her to minister there and equip the people who are there so that they are able to come back from the devastation of these storms that they have faced. So she's going to be in town in October, and we're looking forward to that. And I think she and I are going to do something together. October 15, mark it down, mark it down, mark it down. October 15, the hosts of Authors Up, that is myself and Ruth Griffin and Victoria Henderson, we are going to have an intimate afternoon with the hosts of Authors Up. That's right. We're going to be recording live, and we want you to be there. There's limited space. So when you see us come out with the information about it, be sure to register. It's no charge, no charge. It's a blessing for you, but you're going to have to register to make sure that you will have a seat. And that's going to be in the middle of October. At the end of October, Jasmine T. Young who is not editor, but CEO of Rhoda Generation. And you can find her information at rhodageneration.org. And they're having Rhoda's Royal Ball. Tickets are available already. And that group is to help every young lady inspire, restore, and maintain a sense of belonging in self, in family, and in community. She came on recently and told us all about her organization. It's a wonderful, wonderful organization to support. And if you want more information about that, we can get it to you. Rhoda Generation. Rhoda stands for Raising Humble, Obedient, Daring Adolescents. Humble, obedient, daring adolescents. And that's the Rhoda Generation. So we always try here on When Life Speaks to talk about what you might be doing and what you might be supporting. I know we talk about Francina when she has her fundraisers for with the Cancer Society and the things that she does there. If there is anything that you are doing or anybody that you know who is making an impact in the community, in the family, under the power of one, we want to know about them. And we still celebrate those people who have testimonies of triumph and stories of strength that they bring to us and share with us so that we can grow, and so that we can learn. So let me get back to talking about this summer. This summer, when I thought about those dots, there were different things that came to mind that are struggles for a lot of us, and wanted to be able to explore them a little more thoroughly. And I also wanted to give some of my village and some of the folks that are our friends and come on often or listen often an opportunity to be a guest host. So if you have been part of the village, and that's like people like Marsha Marcellus, I know some of you aren't on the line, but when you see the replay or hear about it, and somebody tells you, "Ooh, they called your name, child," you'll know what I'm talking about. Okay, uh, Kim Smalls Lyons Carpenter, Bernice Clark, Marie Kinsella. These are just some of the people who are on frequently on When Life Speaks, and they also come on at the 8 at 8 program with me in the morning, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Antonio Santoro is another one who is very, very faithful in being on our broadcast. And the ones who are here tonight, Linda, Francina, Angie Oliphant, Zerlina, Pastor Gloria Kennedy out in California. She comes on quite often, and she has been a guest host before. So if any of the village, if any of you who are listening, who don't always comment, like Onetta Shaw, Onetta hides in the back, but I know she's there sometime, Carnethia Robinson, Carmen Thompson, if you have any interest at all in being with me in one of these segments on one of these programs on Thursday evenings in July or August, send me an email. Just send it to speaklifewithandrea@gmail.com. That is speaklifewithandrea@gmail.com. So I want to talk to you a little bit and tell you the things that we're going to be discussing over the next 2 months. And if it is something that you want to add, or something that you may think about that we maybe haven't touched on at all, let me know. Let me know. This is not just my program; it's your program, and we want to be sure that we are bringing you things that are helpful to you, things that will encourage you, things that will strengthen you in your journey. This thing called life can be a blast sometimes. It can be so wonderful. And then there are other times, challenges, one challenge after another. And we have to be able to maneuver. We have to be able to manage our life. And one of the things that is important, and why these topics are important, and why it's important to connect the dots, is because we have to have boundaries. We have to have boundaries. We have to have borders. We have to be able to balance our lives. And sometimes some of these dots, some of these issues in life can keep us, prohibit us, slow us down from being able to manage effectively and to be as healthy as we really, really want to be. So, I'm going to be talking about denials. We're going to be talking about delayed gratification, offense, when obstacles become opportunities, tenacity, and trusting God's timing. Now, we already have some of those blocked off next week. As a matter of fact, Lynn is going to be with us next week, and we're going to be talking about tenacity. We always talk about, you can't quit, you got to keep going. Uh, don't throw in the towel. We say all of those things, but those things are not always easy. And with all of these topics that we are covering, we're looking at the fact that when they happen, when these things happen, what do we do? How do we handle ourselves in the midst of it? What things do we say? How do we encourage ourselves? How do we keep from falling into the pit? Because I tell you, when some of these things take place, it's like this. You just spiral down. You just keep going down, down, trying to figure it out, trying to see what you can do, calling on the Lord and hearing his voice. But sometimes we're not always obedient. We are not as obedient as we need to be. And that's another topic that we're going to cover, obedience or disobedience. But we're going to talk about it right here on When Life Speaks. So next week, we got Lynn, and we're going to talk about tenacity, that determination, that persistence that we need in order to get through this thing called life. So we're going to be talking about that. Any of these topics that I'm mentioning tonight, if you want to weigh in on them, if you want to be a part of the village, so that you can give us your perspective on these things, hey, you know what to do. Just send an email to speaklifewithandrea@gmail.com. That is speaklifewithandrea@gmail.com. Bernice, I would love to have you as a co-host. No pressure, no pressure. But you always have such good insight and good thoughts. So I want you to kind of think about that in the future if you would like to be on with me and we can tackle one of these topics. Francina, who usually does our senior sidebar, she's going to be on. She's picked a date in July and a date in August. In July, we're going to be talking about delayed gratification, July 21st. And Francine, if I don't have my dates right, let me know. But July 21st, that Thursday, we're going to talk about delayed gratification. May have some twists and turns, may not be what you expect, but I guarantee you it will be worth the listen and worth watching. The next time she's on is going to be August the 4th. August the 4th, and we're going to be talking about the spirit of offense. The spirit of offense, especially when you don't intend to offend. How do you get through that? How do you get around those situations and those circumstances where you have either been offended or you have been the one to offend? It's funny because we get offended at work all the time, but we go back every day. But if people offend us at church, people in our family offend us, we will cut them off. We will move back and we won't talk for years and years and years. And I tell you what, we got to stop that. We got to figure out a way to deal with that elephant in the room. And a lot of times that elephant is offense. So Francine is getting ready for that topic and getting ready for delayed gratification. And we will come together and talk to you about that as well. Angie had signed up, and Angie, I think, I want to say you are down for the 11th of August. If If that is not right, if I don't have the date right, be sure to just put the date that you will be on up. Okay. And Angie and I are going to be talking about obstacles and opportunities. Obstacles and opportunities. Every time something gets in our way, doesn't mean that that's the end of whatever it happens to be. A lot of times we can't get to the open door until we get by the closed door. Those closed doors aren't always the end of the world. They aren't always bad for us. They are not always there to destroy us or just put our destiny on an entirely different path. Sometimes we've got to close those doors so that we can open the doors of opportunity. So we're going to be talking about that. How do we get into these places? How do we get into these places where we are facing denials and offense and don't have the tenacity that we need to make through? How do we get there? What is it that gets in our way? What is it that keeps us from moving forward? What is it that are stumbling blocks that we see that put us in this place, these places of denial and obstacles and tenacity? Then the other one is trusting God's timing. Trusting God's timing. We know He can do it. We know He's able to do it. We know He is strong enough to do it. We know that there's nothing greater than God. We know He's omnipotent. We know all of that. But if it, whatever your it is, if it doesn't happen within a particular time frame that we designate, that we decide upon, then we think God's forgotten. He hasn't. He hasn't. He hasn't. But what do we have to do in order to trust the timing of God so that we're not spiraling out of control, and more than anything, so that we are not getting in His way? We can get in His way. And I don't know whether you have ever had that happen before, where you think you've got a better plan than God does. Have you ever had something happen and you think to yourself, "Oh, that's got to be the devil. That can't be God. That cannot be God. He cannot be moving that way because you're not thinking that that's what you want to do, because it's not what you want to do. You're thinking that no, this can't be God. This is totally against everything that I thought I was going to do, everything that I thought I was going to have. I remember, and I think I have shared it on the air before, when I had a store. God had allowed me to go into a wonderful space and to have a gift shop. It was wonderful. Had good customers. Everything was going fine. And I had an assignment. I had signed up to for a business growth assignment, and we had to write our vision and our mission for our company. And I couldn't get mine written, and I couldn't understand that. I thought, as much as I write and as much as I write for other people and being a ghostwriter and all those other things that I've done, I could not get this vision statement and this mission statement together. And I said, God, what is it? Why can't I do this? What's going on that I can't get this done? And He very softly, because He speaks to me so softly, He said, close the store. And I said, the devil is a liar. Mm-mm, that can't be. Business is going good. I got good customers. I got good things happening. But I just got to get this written. Just help me get this written. And He said again, close the store. And I said, God, if that's really you, close this door so tight that there's no way I can open it, or open it so wide that I have to go through, and I won't miss you. Well, that Monday, I got to work, and the lady who was the landlord, if you will, for that property was sitting at her desk just crying, just crying, just crying. And I said, Brenda, what on earth? What is the matter? And she said, the property manager will not let me renew your lease. Closed door. But I wasn't concerned because I knew God had closed it. I knew that this was part of his plan. I knew that he wanted me there for that specific length of time for specific people who came and shopped with me during the time that I was there. You see what I'm saying? He had he had it under control. He had the plan. He knew why he wanted me there. He knew exactly how long he wanted me to be there. And when time was up, guess what? Time was up. And that's the way he works. Yep. Thinking you can do something better than God. Thinking well, this isn't working out. So that he must have forgotten what he said. Clearly. Clearly this can't be it. And clearly it was. It was exactly him. He was working, he was moving, he was doing what he needed to do. Sometimes God will test you with a thing. Sometimes God puts you in a place for a person, for an individual, to be a resource for them, to bless them, to receive a blessing from them. But he always has a plan. We got to trust the timing of God because it's not always going to happen when we think it's going to happen. But what do? Do you barrel forward? Do you keep going? Do you think that, yeah, God forgot this time? I know he manifested some things in the past, but, this is a little bit different. How do we handle those things? How do we handle those things so that we are moving and moving the way that God would have us to move and doing what God would have us to do? That's right, Angie. He always has a plan. He always has a plan, and it is sometimes very, very difficult for us to submit to that plan. He can show you better than he can tell you, and that's a scary thing sometimes, Francina. Because I'd rather hear him and move than have him show me. Because sometimes his showing me can be a little bit rougher than I want. Sometimes those lessons that we have to learn are really, really tough, really tough. But I tell you what, in the end, when we follow the leading of the Lord, in the end, all is well. In the end, it is better, better. What does the word say? Better is the end of a thing than the beginning thereof. So these are some of the things that we're going to be tackling during the summer months. I hope that you will come along with me. And as we go into fall, we're going to start talking about some blessing blockers. We're going to start talking about anger, and we're going to start talking about bitterness and some other things that have been submitted to me that we are going to tackle as we go into fall. Francine said, unfortunately, I learned the hard way. Francine, you're not by yourself. Everybody who is there, everybody, Zerlina will tell you, I'm sure, and Bernice and all of us, me included, all of us have had to learn some tough lessons. Some tough lessons. And why that is, I am not sure. I am not sure. But I know that when God takes the time to tell me something, it's for a reason. It is for a reason. And I don't always know what it is right then. Don't always know what it is right then. And we can go through years later, sometimes it's years later, and we discover what it was all about, why you had to be in that place at that time, why you had to be in that relationship when you were, why you had to end it when you ended it, why you had to set some things aside, hallelujah, and why you had to move forward in times when you didn't think you were able to. I tell you what, these are some good topics. These are some things that we really need. We need to connect these dots. We need to strengthen this picture that we draw every day. Every day. You realize every day you are connecting a new dot. every day that you wake up, every day that you go on assignment, and that is every day that you wake up, you have an assignment. I don't care whether you stay in the house, I don't care whether you go to a job. If you opened your eyes, there's something that God wants you to do for his glory. Every day, we are connecting these dots. Every day, the things that we are moving into or moving away from are shaping the boundaries and the borders of our life. They are helping us to draw the picture and the plan and the blueprint that God has for us, because he has something specific for each of us. And we are the only ones that can do it. Bernice, I don't know what you do for a living, but I guarantee you one thing: whatever it is you do, I can't do it like you can. Guarantee you that. Because what, Francina? Each of us is fearfully and wonderfully made. We are each unique. We are unique to our purpose, and we are unique to our destiny. Whatever it is that God designed us to do, he already knew how he was going to use it. What makes us think that he doesn't understand the assignments that he's given us? That gets into some of those blessing blockers. That gets into that disobedience. That gets into some of those other things that we're going to talk about later on. We're going to talk about them later on. But I hope that you will be back with me and hang out with me through these summer months. Promises to be a good time. The those of you who have signed up to be co-hosts already, Francina and Lynn and Angie, you all have heard them before. They've been on with me before, and I am looking forward to having them on with me again as we traverse this journey called life. And look, if there's something else that you want the When Life Speaks family and village to discuss, send me the topic. Send it to speaklifewithandrea@gmail.com. That is speaklifewithandrea@gmail.com. Hallelujah. Let me look over my notes here and make sure that I have given you all of the information that I wanted to. We talked about sentiment and embrace. We talked about uh, Rhoda's Royal Ball. I think I mentioned that. I hope I did, on October the 30th. If I didn't, that's coming from the Rhoda generation. So I hope I mentioned that to you. Tickets are already available for that event as well. Okay, now, if you did not get your copy of the When Life Speaks newsletter, please send me an email to speaklifewithandrea@gmail.com. Be sure that you share it. Be sure that you send it to somebody else. Excuse me. And be sure that you share the program. Be sure that you share the program. And let me tell you also, we replay our Thursday night program on Saturday afternoon at noon. So if you missed it, or if we talked about something that you want to go back and address, or you want to go back and hear a comment or whatever, or you want to share it with somebody, tell them to be sure and look for it and listen to it on Saturdays at noon. Okay? That all right? Okay. Well, that's it for tonight. I thank you for being with me. I look forward to you coming back next week when Lynn will be with me, and we will start this summer journey that we're going to do. And if there's anything at all that you want us to cover that you don't think that we've tapped on yet, speaklifewithandrea@gmail.com. You all have a great night, great night, great night. When you come back next week, come ready to receive. Turn down the volume of life so that when life speaks, you'll speak life. Good night, everybody.